ladies and gentlemen. My name is Teresa Newman, and I am a private flute instructor in the Austin area. And your band directors are putting together this really great project, video masterclass project, and I'm so excited to be included in on this. I've got a couple of really awesome tips for you. They're pretty flute specific, and they are really great for when you've taken a really big break or maybe stuck in quarantine and haven't had your normal practice routine. Sometimes when we get to that point where we aren't practicing as often as we normally do, we start to lose some focus in our sound. So today we're going to talk about kind of how to find that sound again. And one concept that I'd like to discuss is how to find your sweet spot and my really high production value graphics here. So there's 3 things that we need to remember. We've got 3 balance points that are essential to anchoring ourselves to making that perfect sound in the best possible spot on our face and for our embouchure. You're also going to hug your corners, and I'll talk about what that means later. And then also we're going to work on finding an anchor note so that all of our other notes are going to sound just as beautiful. And that note will be C sharp. So why is that note C sharp? Let's kind of work our way backwards. So if we're going to be doing an anchor point exercise, what are our 3 anchor points? All right, you probably learned this from 6th grade, but let's review it. So the first one is your chin/lip. My guide is always to kind of aim for this outside ridge to line up where the pink of your lips starts, but everyone's different. So that's kind of up to you. Your second anchor point is what I call chopper, but more specifically, it's where the first knuckle of your finger meets your hand. And if you play long enough, you start to get a callus there. So it'll come between the first and second keys on your instrument, right there. And then your third anchor point is your right hand thumb. Find it by making your little crab claw and then putting that right underneath your right finger, number 4. For me, I like to pull that back just a little bit. So if I start in a neutral position and then I can pull that thumb a little more towards the back of the flute, that'll give me a chance to give some resistance forward with that hand and also be able to balance it from the bottom. Okay, so when all those are working together, you're going to have a force that goes this way, a force that goes up and out as well, and that should keep it on your face. Okay, so now we found our 3 anchor points. What we're going to do now is step number 2, and we're going to hug the corners of your bottom lip to the lip plate. So you start with a frowny face, but really what you're doing is you're pulling everything forward and down. So nice and poofy and soft and solid. Okay, so I'm going to anchor in, hug their corners, and then we're going to try and play that C sharp. That's our anchor note. If we can make that note sound beautiful and full and resonant, then everything else will come out great afterwards. Okay, so it's not exactly how I want it right now. So I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment, and I'm going to try that multiple times. And I'm not going to move on to my next exercise or my next warm-up until I find the sound that I want on that note. Notice that when I play that note as well, I'm not playing C sharp with my pinky. So this is challenging you to use those 3 balance points to hold your flute up. You're never going to use these fingers to hold the flute up or do any actual like heavy lifting work. Okay, that's where you start getting a lot of technical problems. Okay, so we're gonna try that C sharp one more time. Play it once without the pinky. Okay, so it's not exactly how I want it right now. So I'm gonna do a little bit of adjustment, and I'm gonna try that multiple times. And I'm not gonna move on to my next exercise or my next warm up until I find the sound that I want on that note. Notice that when I play that note as well, I'm not playing C sharp with my pinky. So this is challenging you to use those 3 balance points to hold your flute up. You're never going to use these fingers to hold the flute up or do any actual like heavy lifting work. Okay, that's where you start getting a lot of technical problems. Okay, so we're gonna try that C sharp one more time. Play it once without the pinky. Get those corners hugged in nice and good. Get your top lip away from your teeth nice and soft. Think ooh instead of E. And then once you got that note down, then you can start putting pinky, and then I'll do a chromatic scale either down or up and make sure all those notes and all registers sound the way that I want. If you can get anchor point C sharp, that's the C sharp with just your 3 balance points sounding the way you want, I guarantee you every note and all other registers will be a lot more solid, and you'll get that full resonant sound that you want. So that's really the basis of how to find that good sound again. The key is don't get frustrated with yourself. If it's not how it's sounding, or if it's not the way that you want it to sound right away, your best bet is to not force it. Because if you force a sound, that's when you start getting tension in your embouchure, and then you'll have all kinds of other problems that you didn't sign up for. Okay. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps. So let's just review back to my fancy graphic here. All right. To find your sweet spot, find your 3 balance points. Hug your corners, get that frowny face nice and soft, and then find your anchor point C sharp. Do not move off of this note until you found the sound that you want. All right, guys, well, enjoy practicing, try to keep your spirits high, and make some music, and cheers.